During the program, I inadvertently shattered the antique vase cherished by the prince of the Jing Circle. It is said to be the sole gift bestowed upon him by his late beloved, a treasure he holds dear, diligently polishing it each night before slumber, regarding it as more precious than life itself. Now, I have brought about its ruin, and everyone proclaims that my fate is sealed. The prince will not let me off the hook. I am left in a state of utter bewilderment. What on earth? Wasn't that vase merely a defective item I carelessly tossed to him? Moreover, what accursed fate! When did I ever meet my demise? After 2 years of striving, I have finally achieved meteoric fame. The trending searches are abuzz with excitement. Yet, the unfortunate news is that due to the destruction of the vase held dear by the prince, I am now infamous, garnering scorn across the internet. The mockery is relentless. Surely, no one is truly unaware that the vase was the prince's most treasured possession, a unique gift from his late beloved, irreplaceable and invaluable. The prince carries it with him even during business trips. There was once a servant who made a blunder while cleaning, mistakenly placing this vase alongside a turquoise necklace destined for a Christie's auction in the warehouse. The necklace was lost, yet the prince remained silent. However, the moment the vase went missing, he erupted in fury. Gu Jinyan has shattered the vase most beloved by Sui Yu. Her career is over. Utterly finished. She deserves it. Before their arrival, the production team repeatedly warned them that this house was lent by the prince for filming and urged utmost caution, yet she was so clumsy. Who can she blame? The trending searches are inundated with vitriol directed at me. Without exception, MY family revels in my misfortune, sarcastically posting a fragment of the broken vase, captioned, "Such a beautiful vase. Truly a pity. I hope its owner isn't too heartbroken." Crying face. I feel a surge of exasperation within. Were it not for her treacherous foot that tripped me, I would never have fallen, nor shattered Sui Yu's vase. This entire debacle is her doing, and yet she turns around to play the innocent. The agent, her face streaked with tears, implored me for a solution. Having provoked the scion of the Jing Circle, I felt as if I were teetering on the brink of catastrophe. Meanwhile, Sui Yu, who was abroad on business, had yet to respond. While numerous domestic brands hastily sought to terminate their contracts with me, several others, previously in negotiations, swiftly turned their backs and sought out Song Yuan, who is of the same ilk as I. Enraged, she could hardly contain her fury. We were both from the same company, after all. And I never anticipated she would resort to such despicable tactics to elevate herself. What was this if not a treacherous stab in the back? The higher-ups in the company were equally culpable. They were fully aware of her machinations, yet chose to remain silent, clearly nurturing a venomous scheme. How revolting. So, what was I to do? My agent, on the verge of tears, pondered whether to secure me a few more appearances before I exited the industry, hoping to salvage at least some earnings. Yet, I remained unperturbed, wearing an expression of calm indifference. I patted her shoulder, dismissing the situation as nothing more than a trifling vase. What was there to fear? My agent widened her eyes in disbelief, staring at me as if I had lost my senses. Gu Jinyan, have you inflated your ego so much in less than 2 years in this industry? You dare disregard even the prince's vase? That is a treasure worth its weight in gold. Selling you wouldn't even cover the damages. Oh, the irony. A treasure, indeed. The vase in question was merely a flawed product I had crafted during my early days of training, its base rough, the lines unrefined, and the firing poorly executed. I had carelessly handed it over to Sui Yu. After our marriage, I entered the entertainment realm, frequently traveling for shows and scarcely seeing it again, only to unexpectedly encounter it during a variety show. Intrigued, I wished to approach and examine my past work, only to be tripped by Song Yuan, resulting in a disastrous fall. This incident led to a wave of online ridicule, with many eagerly anticipating my downfall. Yet, to their chagrin, they would not savor this particular piece of gossip. Sui Yu would not retaliate on account of this. After all, I am his legally wedded wife, and half of what belongs to the Sui family is mine. Besides, that vase was originally a gift from me to him. But what nonsense about a deceased white moonlight. I was merely busy and away from home, not deceased. Thank you very much. How could that dog of a man spread such slander? How vile. I am fully aware of the value of my own creations. If it were truly worth a fortune, would I need to toil in the entertainment industry? If it shatters, so be it. It is merely a worthless trinket, and my studio has plenty more to spare, enough to cover any potential losses he might incur. Upon hearing this, my agent stared at me incredulously for a long moment before finally uttering, "You've lost your mind." She assumed I was so frightened that I had begun to speak nonsense. Even if I had studied ceramics for a few years, how could a mere novice like me possibly create something that the prince would cherish? Without hesitation, she hastily secured several more appearances for me. At this juncture, invitations for prominent shows were scarce, with the only noteworthy opportunity being a dating show titled Sweet Love. This live-streamed romantic variety show, backed by a major conglomerate and helmed by a renowned director, had already garnered significant attention even before airing, having invited numerous popular celebrities. The production team had drafted me as a guest prior to my scandal. At the time, I had no intention of participating due to my secret marriage with Sui-yu. However, upon learning of my participation, Sui-yu became exceedingly jealous and confronted me, insisting on public acknowledgement of our relationship. He had always disapproved of my entry into the entertainment industry, fearing I would be ensnared by various handsome suitors. To my surprise, he was incensed at the idea of me joining a dating show, demanding clarity in our relationship. I contemplated that maintaining a single persona would more easily attract fans. Thus I refused. Sui-yu, infuriated, ignored me for over a month, though my busy schedule had also contributed to my lack of time for him. Now, due to the vase incident, I found myself facing widespread online condemnation, with many production teams steering clear of me, leaving only the dating show's offer standing strong. The terms were quite appealing indeed. Most importantly, I had heard whispers that the show was structured with 3 men and 4 women, ensuring that one female contestant would inevitably remain single. With my current reputation, I would undoubtedly be overlooked. Who else could be that unfortunate leftover but me? With this in mind, I promptly signed the contract and headed to the city for filming, only to discover on the plane that the Sway Group was sponsoring the show. Moreover, rumors suggested that Sui-yu himself would appear as a mysterious guest. The online spectators were abuzz with speculation, conjecturing that he had joined the show to confront me over the broken vase. They were only half correct. His intention was to catch me in the act. An already married individual masquerading as single on a dating show, caught red-handed by her husband. How mortifying. Although he was currently engrossed in an overseas acquisition and might not notice my participation, what if he did? If we crossed paths on the show, I could never hold my head high before him again. And knowing Sui-yu's tendency to blurt out secrets, if he revealed my marital status, my career would be irreparably tarnished. The anxiety was overwhelming. I was genuinely terrified. So much so that while getting my makeup done, I failed to notice Song Yuanyuan entering the room. She too was participating in this show. A newly debuted starlet, upon seeing my distressed state, disdainfully leaned towards Song Yuanyuan, commenting that some people were clearly here to embarrass themselves, having broken the prince's vase yet still daring to appear on the show, unafraid of his potential wrath and subsequent banishment. Without the cameras rolling, Song Yuanyuan chose to drop her pretense, rolling her eyes. Who knows? Perhaps she is so desperate for a man that she has lost her mind. She has been ridiculed to no end yet still dares to join a dating show. Does she not consider which man would want her? How embarrassing. Rumor had it that the prince would be the mysterious guest. Was she here to chase after that? Did she really believe she could match with him? How laughable. The young starlet eagerly nodded in agreement. Exactly. How could the prince ever fancy her? She must be dreaming. If anyone is deserving, it's someone like Sister Yuanyuan, who is not only beautiful but also talented. Let us just hope she doesn't try to steal the spotlight. The young starlet's flattery soared to great heights, much to Song Yuanyuan's delight, who smirked. She wouldn't dare. With that, she lifted her skirt and strutted out of the makeup room, casting a scornful glance in my direction as she passed. As the live broadcast commenced, the 3 male and 4 female contestants introduced themselves sequentially, engaging in interactive games. According to the show's format, after the first round, viewers would vote in real time, allowing the female contestants to choose male contestants based on their vote tallies. With 3 men for women and 1 mysterious male guest, the production team had an additional twist. The male contestants were passive and had no right to refuse. After announcing the mysterious male guest, the chat exploded with excitement, speculating that Sui-yu was indeed the guest, with viewers fervently voting to facilitate my interaction with the prince. In a mere 10 minutes, the vote count skyrocketed into the millions. I had once been the most popular contestant, but following the vase incident, my reputation plummeted, and with many career supporters abandoning me, the results reflected my fall from grace. I was at the bottom of the list. Conversely, Song Yuanyuan emerged as the frontrunner, followed by the award-winning actress Wang Ju and the rising star Chen Meng. Upon the announcement of the votes, Song Yuanyuan shot me a triumphant glance. Among the male contestants were the acclaimed actor and actress, who were in a clandestine relationship, using this show as a public opportunity. Song Yuanyu and would never select him. Next was the popular young actor Lu Jin, whose facade of charm belied a rotten core. He had previously attempted to tarnish my name when I rejected his advances. Finally, there was the nation's beloved heartthrob Zhao Weiran, a newcomer whose agency had reportedly coordinated with Chen Meng's team for a collaboration. None of these men were Song Yuanyu's targets. She had her sights set on Sui Yu. Yet, to my astonishment, upon receiving her card, she boldly wrote down Lu Jin's name. This series of events has left me utterly perplexed. Subsequently, the best actress chose the best actor. And as was to be expected, Chen Meng opted for the National Campus Prince. When my turn arrived, I was left with the enigmatic fourth guest, the legendary scion of the Jing Circle. I was completely bewildered. What on earth was happening? However, the arrow was already notched, and under the program crew's urging, I tentatively pointed my trembling finger towards the fourth guest hidden behind the curtain. A month had passed since we last met, and I had not anticipated encountering him in such a manner. I could already envision the mocking expression on Sui Yu's face once the curtain was drawn. As the grand curtain slowly rose with the program crew's prompting, I anxiously shut my eyes. What awaited me, however, was a cacophony of laughter. Ha ha ha. Did you see the crew's recent announcement? The mysterious guest number 4 has withdrawn from filming due to his busy work schedule, so Sui Yu's participation was merely a ruse. Upon opening my eyes, I indeed found the stage empty, devoid of even a shadow, while the live chat was flooded with ridicule directed at me. Some must have had their daydream shattered. How could the prince, so far overseas, possibly grace such a variety show? The audacity to fantasize about him was laughable. This was a complete slap in the face for Gu Jinyan, who, despite having shattered her own vase, insisted on appearing on this show alongside the prince, only to discover that he had utterly disregarded her existence. It was likely that all she would receive from him would be a legal notice. Laughter echoed, and I recalled that Sui Yu was on a business trip in the city. Could it be that he cancelled his appearance just because Gu Jinyan was here? Goodness, how humiliating. In a corner unseen by the cameras, Song Yuanyuan regarded me with scornful eyes, a fool who truly believed Sui Yu would participate in this show. Oblivious to her own standing. Even if he did come, what made her think she was worthy of being near him? Clearly, she had known all along that Sui Yu wouldn't show up, which is why she pretended to choose Lu Jin, forcing me to select this so-called prince of the Jing Circle, only to be met with ridicule and humiliation. Beside her, Lu Jin wore a victorious expression, looking at me with evident disdain. Yuanyuan, why waste your breath on such a vain woman? No matter how she tries, she cannot compare to you. As she leaned closer to Song Yuanyuan, it was as if standing beside her elevated her in status, allowing her to forget the embarrassment of being rejected by me during our time in the production team. Ultimately, this farce concluded with my isolation. They paired off for sweet dates while I remained at the base camp. To enhance the program's entertainment value, the crew entrusted me with the task of preparing meals, sending me off with a basket to procure ingredients. Fortunately, preparing dinner was not a daunting task for me. Back in my master studio, I often handled logistics, even single-handedly managing the meals for a dozen junior disciples. Now, preparing dinner for a few guests was a mere trifle. However, I did not expect to encounter Xiaobao while shopping for groceries at the scenic area. The chubby little bundle seemed lost among the crowd, his round, bright eyes searching helplessly, glistening with a hint of moisture. The moment he spotted me, his eyes sparkled, and he darted towards me. Auntie, before he could complete his sentence, I swiftly covered his mouth, winking at him. It's Auntie. Auntie is working right now. Xiaobao nodded eagerly, understanding, and promptly corrected himself to call me Auntie Gu. I was taken aback. How did Xiaobao end up here? After some inquiries, I discovered that the resort where we were filming belonged to the Sui family. A few days prior, Sui Yu had come here for work and had brought Xiaobao along for a bit of fun. However, he had been elusive, leaving Xiaobao bored, which led him to sneak out, resulting in our unexpected encounter. This meant that Sui Yu was indeed in the city, not far from the program crew, capable of arriving in a heartbeat. A shiver ran down my spine as I looked down at Xiaobao, who was grinning widely at me. This child, with his big, toothy smile, refused to divulge the specific address, and I had no desire to seek out Sui Yu and put myself in harm's way. Reluctantly, I took Xiaobao back to the apartment. Xiaobao's parents had passed away long ago, and he had been raised by Sui Yu and me. I was like a mother figure to him. While I cooked, he stayed by my side, helping me out, calling me Auntie in his sweet, childish voice, melting my heart. I truly had not wasted my affection on him. The program crew had no objections to my bringing Xiaobao along, but Song Yuan was visibly displeased. Upon returning from outside and seeing Xiaobao, her expression soured instantly. Whose child is this, running around in the dining hall like that? Such poor upbringing. Is he brought back by Gu Jinyan? Oh, that explains it. After all, a crooked beam leads to a warped roof. What good can come from a country girl like her? Hearing her speak this way, I immediately straightened my face and retorted bluntly, Song Yuan, show some respect. Xiaobao is not a wild child. You cannot provoke him. The young master of the Sui family was not someone she could afford to cross. He was cherished by Sui Yu, raised as if he were his own child, kept well protected from the outside world, which few knew about.
Yo.
Just a few words, and you're already on the defensive. What is there to be afraid of? Are you saying he's the illegitimate child you had with some wild man? She scanned Xiaobao with a lewd smile. No wonder you've had it so easy in the circle. Turns out you gave birth to a child for your sugar daddy. How shameless to still pretend to be innocent. I quickly covered Xiaobao's ears. Song Yuan, shut your mouth. Making such vulgar jokes about a child is disgraceful. I warn you, do not speak like this in front of Xiaobao, or else. I seized her hair and yanked it hard. I'll pull your head off. After being put in her place, Song Yuan finally quieted down. Indeed, physical intimidation proved effective. Just as I pondered whether to find a moment to return Xiaobao to his home, the crew suddenly announced that Xiaobao would be the new special guest, remaining with us to participate in the filming. Seeing his clever little face, I knew he had already conspired with Sui Yu, and I had no choice but to drag the child along for the romantic reality show. While others partnered with handsome men for sweet romantic escapades, I was on a dating show with a toddler, causing chaos. The barrage of comments on the live stream reached new heights of ridicule directed at me. What is this? While others are on a dating show, she's on a kiddie show? Is it because no one else wanted her, so she teamed up with a child? How absurd. Didn't they say Xiaobao is the child of Gu Jinyan and her sugar daddy? She's had it easy, because she slept her way up. So, her sugar daddy sent a kid to keep an eye on her in the dating show. However, some fans felt it was ridiculous and defended me, shouting at the haters, "Get lost, you trolls." Xiaobao is 5 years old, and Gu Jinyan is only 23. When Xiaobao was born, she was still in high school. You better watch what you say or face legal consequences. Various comments erupted into chaos, and because of the sheer absurdity, my fans began to gain an upper hand over hers, until the program crew took us to a handcrafted porcelain workshop for an experience, at which point the arguments abruptly ceased. One segment involved appreciating the exquisite work of Master Qinyi, a delicate thin-walled ceramic teapot. Yet before the official filming had commenced, Xiaobao accidentally shattered it. The chat momentarily fell silent before being inundated with vitriol directed at me. It drives me mad. Such a beautiful teapot ruined by this little rascal. What was Gu Jinyan thinking, letting her child run wild? This little brat should just disappear from the planet. How unfortunate for such a fine piece to be destroyed. My heart shattered alongside it. The crew had even stated that this masterpiece took Master Chen a month to create. And now it lay in ruins. I could hardly imagine the master's reaction upon his return. Gu Jinyan was truly insufferable. Her unreliability has not only affected herself, but also led her child to act recklessly. Indeed, who else could possibly defend Gu Jinyan? Claiming that the prince's vase was shattered purely by accident? It is evident that she is a naturally uncouth individual. The production team had not anticipated such an unforeseen incident, and the directors exchanged worried glances, unsure of how to explain the situation upon Master Chunya's return. Little Bao had fallen and injured his elbow, crying out in pain. I held him close, soothing him gently, while simultaneously requesting permission from the director's team to take Little Bao to the hospital. Song Yuan regarded me with a mocking smile. Some people, it seems, are oblivious to the consequences of their actions. Having caused trouble, they now wish to evade responsibility. What did I say before? A crooked beam results in a crooked roof. You shattered President Sui's vase, and now your child is also a poorly raised wildling. And now you dare to shift the burden onto the production team? You deserve nothing but failure, Gu Jinyan. I refuse to believe you can continue to thrive in this industry after this. As she spoke, a cruel smile crept across her lips, her expression somewhat sinister. I held Little Bao, seething with rage. It was she who had deliberately tripped him while everyone was distracted. Using the same old trick, she aimed to deflect blame and tarnish my reputation. I was furious and confronted her. Little Bao did not act carelessly. He was clearly tripped by her. And the ceramic pot that was broken was not as precious as everyone claimed. It was merely a prop the production team had exaggerated for show. The immediate concern was to take little Bao to the hospital. Upon hearing my words, the room erupted in uproar. Song Yuan seized the opportunity, her eyes gleaming with delight. Gu Jinyan, how audacious you are. You think so little of Master Chen Yi's work, the heirloom porcelain? Moreover, this was a unique piece he had crafted over the course of a month, intended for a foreign museum, now irretrievably lost. How will you compensate for it? The barrage of comments echoed with disdain towards me. Indeed, that was Master Chen's labor of love. This incident was clearly a result of Gu Jinyan's poor parenting, allowing her unruly child to break the vase, yet she still refuses to take responsibility, shifting the blame onto Yuan. How despicable. Without further ado, Gu Jinyan must compensate for the vase. Gu Jinyan must pay for the vase. Gu Jinyan should be expelled from the entertainment industry. I observed the screen filled with insults and scorn, and let out a sarcastic laugh. Then, amidst the torrent of vitriol, I rolled up my sleeves. If they want me to compensate for the vase, very well, I shall do it here and now. Skillfully. I took a lump of clay and deftly shaped it into the form of a ceramic pot, the body fine and smooth. Relying solely on my tactile sense, I crafted a piece identical in size to the original, then fashioned a carving tool and delicately etched a design into the gossamer thin walls of the pot. After applying a glaze, I placed it into the kiln for firing. The onlookers were left in astonishment, especially Song Yuan, who exclaimed, Gu Jinyan, what on earth are you doing? You can't possibly intend to create one yourself to compensate, can you? Are you out of your mind? Your rudimentary skills cannot possibly compare to Master Chen's. How disgusting to think you can even attempt to challenge him. Lu Jin stood beside her, chiming in, indeed. It's a mere sham. Master Chen's exquisite pot is delicately thin, not truly perforated. What is this abomination Gu Jinyan is trying to create? If she wishes to showcase her talent, I am eager to see how it all concludes. The comments flooded in. This is hilarious. Gu Jinyan is utterly insufferable. Even the fellow guests on the show can't be bothered to pretend anymore. Imagine how unbearable she must be off camera. I, too, am exasperated by those who lack any sense of propriety, self-righteous and oblivious to their own faults, constantly causing trouble without owning up to their mistakes, expecting others to clean up after them. I can only imagine how Master Chen Yi would feel upon seeing her pitiful attempt at a pot. Adding to this, the masterpiece painstakingly crafted by the master has been destroyed by her, and she dares to think of compensating with her inferior creation? Even my 3-year-old nephew would not entertain such naive thoughts. I sincerely hope the production team will not cover for her this time, and that Gu Jinyan receives the punishment she rightfully deserves, perhaps even facing imprisonment. You are all being utterly ridiculous. It is merely a vase. Is it really that serious? I find Gu Jinyan's technique rather commendable. Her piece and Master Chen's are not world apart, and besides, the creation of exquisite porcelain traditionally involves carving before glazing. Just as the argument reached a fever pitch, Master Chen Yi returned. The spacious studio still bore the remnants of shattered pottery on the floor, and upon entering, his gaze was firmly fixed on the debris, his expression inscrutable. The atmosphere fell silent. Even the most eloquent director was at a loss for words. Song Yuan, with a gleam of satisfaction in her eyes, hurriedly pushed me towards Master Chen, feigning sorrow. Master Chen, please accept my condolences. Although your exquisite pot was shattered by Gu Jinyan, it was not intentional. She has come to understand her mistake and has crafted a new piece to offer as compensation. While not as skilled as Master Chen, she poured her heart into the creation, and it has already been placed in the kiln for some time. You shall soon see it. Viewers watching the live stream were a mix of anxious and gleeful, some commenting on Master Chen's darkening expression, eagerly anticipating how he would reprimand me. However, upon hearing Song Yuan's words, Master Chen's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm as he grasped my hand warmly. Disciple, I hear you have crafted a piece of exquisite porcelain? The usually aloof Master Chen was particularly affectionate towards me, holding my hand and chattering away. You are a prodigy from my master's lineage. At merely 20, your porcelain work rivals my own. It is a shame, though, to hear you have ventured into the entertainment industry. Just then, my crafted pot emerged from the kiln, translucent and elegant, with holes that glimmered like flowing light. The porcelain was radiant and pure, exquisitely unique. Master Chen held it in his hands, repeatedly expressing admiration, reluctant to let it go. His reaction left everyone astounded. If moments ago they had anticipated a spectacle of my humiliation, they now found themselves utterly bewildered.
What?
I must have misheard. Gu Jinyan is actually Master Chunya's disciple, and her skills are on par with his. I was astonished to learn that this newcomer had been a bearer of intangible cultural heritage before entering the industry. How incredibly cool. It is no wonder Gu Jinyan appeared so composed. She is indeed family. Observing Master Chen's affectionate regard for the porcelain piece she created, one could hardly tell he was concerned about the shattered vase. Gu Jinyan has some real talent. Indeed, she is remarkable. Trained under the renowned Master Qin Qing of exquisite porcelain, her innate talent is exceptional. Had she not entered the entertainment industry, she would undoubtedly have become a master in her own right. Unfortunately, Master Qin Qing, despite his extraordinary skill, struggled with business and took in many disabled apprentices, leading to the studio's decline. Gu Jinyan, as the eldest disciple, entered the entertainment industry to financially support the studio. Who would have thought she would achieve some degree of recognition? The power of the internet is immense. Within moments, my past was unearthed, revealing that this seemingly shallow and flamboyant star had entered the industry to support her disabled apprentices. It was a necessity, as the studio was on the brink of collapse, and I could not bear to see my fellow disciple suffer. I chose to work in the entertainment industry rather than rely on Sui's influence, starting from humble roles. Little did I know, this path would lead me to a certain level of success. Once the audience learned my background, their perceptions shifted dramatically. My reputation improved significantly. To be fair, Gu Jinyan truly cannot be vilified. She bravely stepped into the entertainment industry to support her disabled apprentices, signing contracts with exploitative companies like Xingsan. One might call her foolish, but one cannot deny her kindness. I was utterly overwhelmed. I had previously seen a self-media blogger post about Master Qin Qing's studio, which had suffered greatly in recent years due to the decline of handcrafted porcelain. Master Qin generously continued to teach his disabled apprentices for free, providing them with food and shelter. I had thought him to be a remarkable figure, unaware that my elder disciple had been carrying this burden for them. What malice could the esteemed senior sister harbor toward her junior disciples who bravely venture into the circle? The incident where she inadvertently shattered President Sui's vase was merely an accident. After all, the crowd was both numerous and chaotic at the time. Moreover, I vaguely recall a high-heeled shoe intruding into the live broadcast, causing our senior sister to trip. Thus, Gu Jixian was well aware from the outset that this was her master's studio, and her master would not hold her accountable. Her manner of handling the situation was not erroneous. Rather, it was we who reacted with undue alarm, particularly Song Yuanyuan, who, upon realization, deemed her to be exceedingly two-faced, presenting herself as a benevolent figure while surreptitiously sowing discord against Gu Jixian. I too find Song Yuanyuan to be rather peculiar. Her demeanor starkly contrasts with the gentle and serene persona she projects, revealing an unpleasantly scheming nature that targets Jixian. As the crowd began to grasp the situation, many expressed their suspicions and mockery towards Song Yuanyuan, with some resorting to extreme insults, clamoring for her to provide an explanation. Song Yuanyuan appeared visibly uncomfortable, realizing that the very weapon of public opinion she once wielded against me was now turned against her. She stood frozen, her expression darkening. The wheel of fortune turns, sparing none. While Song Yuanyuan sought to undermine me, she found herself ensnared, embroiled in her own turmoil, now in a predicament she could not escape. Her vexation brought me a sense of satisfaction, and I responded with a radiant smile, my lips stretching to the very roots of my ears. Song Yuanyuan trembled with ire, struggling to contain herself as she stammered, "It's a misunderstanding, merely a misunderstanding." I was just considering the program's interests and became a tad anxious. After all, Master Chenya's works are truly invaluable. Lu Jin chimed in. Indeed, Yuanyuan had no intention of putting Gu Jixian in a difficult position. The items are simply too precious, and we were unaware of their connection. It is only natural to be concerned. Moreover, this is not the first time for Gu Jixian. She previously broke a vase cherished by the crown prince, and now she has allowed a child to shatter a jade pot. If we were to be overly meticulous, Yuanyuan's dress was also torn. She has not even mentioned compensation for her $1,000,000 gown. As Lu Jin concluded his statement, the camera panned to Song Yuanyuan's dress, and someone recognized it as a newly launched global limited edition from a luxury brand, worth a staggering 7 figures, no exaggeration. Now, this exquisite garment bore a long tear, rendering it practically ruined. Viewers expressed their heartfelt sympathy over the details of the dress, which was reportedly the magnum opus of the brand's chief designer. encapsulating a lifetime of dedication. Due to its exorbitant price, only 3 pieces were released worldwide, and we common folk could scarcely catch a glimpse, only to see it destroyed by a mischievous child. No matter how expensive Master Chunye's works are, they merely reach hundreds of thousands, while Yuanyuan's dress is valued at over 1 million. If Yuanyuan were truly the two-faced person you claim, why would she not demand compensation for her dress? She is merely advocating for the preservation of traditional craftsmanship, yet you have vilified her as being against Gu Zhixian. How disheartening. The previously silent accounts began to spring forth like mushrooms after rain, with various comments supporting their idol. Since it is thus, we cannot allow Yuanyuan to suffer this silent loss. $1 million dress cannot simply vanish without accountability. Someone must take responsibility for the compensation. The ill-mannered child, seemingly sprung from nowhere, appeared to be a pauper. How could they possibly afford to compensate? Yuanyuan truly had the misfortune of encountering such a situation. It was utterly infuriating. If the child cannot pay, then Gu Zhixian should, as she was the one who brought him along. If she does not compensate, who will? I was left speechless. My mouth agape, about to speak when a tall figure entered the studio. Sui Yu, I will compensate. Dressed impeccably in a tailored suit, Sui Yu strode into the photography studio with long strides, his meticulously combed hair accentuating his deep-set features, illuminated by the overhead lights, exuding a calm and refined aura. He approached my side and coldly stated, I am here to compensate. My entire being tensed, and I glanced at him, our eyes meeting briefly. Caught in the act, I hastily averted my gaze. Sui Yu's clear, cool eyes reflected a hint of helplessness. In truth, I felt considerably reassured by his presence. I could finally breathe a sigh of relief. The crowd stood in stunned silence, taking some time to process. Oh my goodness! The Crown Prince of the capital has graced us with his presence. Song Yuanyuan's face instantly flushed, gripping her dress, flustered and incoherent. No. This matter has nothing to do with you. If anyone should compensate, it should be that pauper. Inadvertently, she had voiced her true sentiments. Today, as children lack proper upbringing, running about causing chaos, I truly wonder how their guardians educate them. They should be made to compensate to learn a lesson. With that, she shot a pointed glare in my direction. However, before her words could fully escape her lips, Little Bao lunged into Sui Yu's embrace. Uncle. Sui Yu held Little Bao, gazing at Song Yuanyuan with a smirk that dripped with sarcasm. What a coincidence. The so-called ill-mannered pauper you speak of happens to be my nephew. Song Yuanyuan seemed as if struck by lightning, standing frozen in place, unable to comprehend. She clearly did not expect the child she had been deriding to be the Crown Prince's nephew. Her complexion drained of color as she trembled uncontrollably. Misunderstanding. All a misunderstanding. Sui, I failed to recognize him. I was merely joking. I did not intend for Little Bao to compensate. Sui Yu cast her a cold glance. Compensate? I thought it of some worth, yet it turns out to be a counterfeit. A tattered dress unworthy of compensation? At this declaration, murmurs of shock rippled through the crowd. What? Song Yuanyuan, in her arrogance, was wearing a fake dress? How could she still act so imperiously? Demanding compensation from Little Bao and Gu Zhixian? Had Sui Yu not arrived, Gu Zhixian would have faced a significant loss. Viewers observed the unfolding drama. Their illusions about Song Yuanyuan shattered to pieces. At this moment, the official account of the Sui Corporation released a video from the earlier program, showcasing me cautiously approaching the vase on the shelf, only to be tripped by a high-heeled shoe in the corner, leading to the vase's shattering. The shoe was identified as belonging to Song Yuanyuan, who was also a participant in the program. It became evident that I had not intentionally shattered the Crown Prince's vase. The true culprit was indeed Song Yuanyuan. With undeniable evidence presented, her hired online defenders could no longer argue, falling silent as her fanbase dwindled dramatically. How could she have the audacity to blame Gu Zhixian when she herself had caused the vase's destruction? Her downfall was well-deserved, and Sui Yu should not let her escape unscathed. Yet, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this. Had you all closely observed the live stream? When Little Bao broke the porcelain pot, a foot appeared in the lower left corner of the video, and I recall Song Yuanyuan wearing black high heels. After viewers raised their doubts, screenshots from the live stream surfaced in the comment section. Though somewhat blurry, one could discern the silhouette of a black shoe brushing past Little Bao's trousers. Oh my, could it truly be? Such a despicable method could only belong to Song Yuanyuan. The production team must not edit this out. We demand the original footage be released to reveal the truth regarding Gu Zhixian and Little Bao. If Song Yuan craved the spotlight, let the camera focus on her and reveal the depths of her character. In response to the fervent demands of the fans, the production team released the previous live stream footage, directing the camera towards Song Yuan and giving her shoes a close-up. Indeed, she was wearing those black high heels. The truth was now laid bare. Twice, Song Yuan has meddled, not only shattering the vase treasured by Suiyu, but also framing Xiaobao for the destruction of Master Qin Yi's painstaking masterpiece. The crowd was filled with righteous indignation, particularly recalling how she had previously manipulated them as pawns, leaving them seething with resentment. It is indeed her. How despicable. To oust Gu Jinyan for her own ambition is one thing, but to drag a mere 6-year-old child into this debacle is utterly unforgivable. Thankfully, Xiaobao has the support of a formidable background to withstand her slander. Otherwise, it is hard to fathom the psychological trauma this child would endure from her antics. Moreover, Xiaobao was injured due to her treachery, crying in pain, which tugged at my heartstrings. Song Yuan is truly vile. Suizong must not let her off lightly. Suiyu, who had no intention of sparing her, had navigated the business world for many years, renowned for his decisiveness and ruthless methods. It is worth noting that Song Yuan has now crossed his threshold of tolerance. One is a woman, the other a child. She has harmed Xiaobao and tarnished my reputation. Such actions are simply inexcusable. Suiyu's gaze upon Song Yuan was laced with an icy chill. There would be no mercy. I have already reported her. Miss Song first tripped my wife, and then employed the same trick on my nephew. She cannot evade the charge of intentional harm. Furthermore, the harassment orchestrated against my wife by hired online trolls for several months will also be accounted for. Oh, and let us not forget the vase. An invaluable treasure crafted by my wife and gifted to me. The Sui legal team is fully prepared. They will not rest until she is brought to her knees. Upon hearing this declaration, the crowd was left in shock. What? His wife, the scion of the capital circle, is actually married. And he claims Song Yuan caused his wife to stumble. Wait, could it be that he is referring to Gu Jinyan? My goodness. Gu Jinyan is indeed the secret spouse of the prince of the capital circle. This revelation is explosive. Consequently, the fact that the vase was made by Gu Jinyan pales in comparison. Following Suiyu's revelation, chaos ensued both online and in reality. Song Yuan utterly broke down. No, this cannot be. How could that wretched Gu Jinyan possibly be the clandestine partner of the prince? In a frenzy, she rushed towards me, intent on tearing me apart. Alas, Suiyu intervened, and she was swiftly escorted away by security. Only after Song Yuan was taken did I peek from behind Suiyu, still shaken, and offered him a nervous smile. I didn't intend to participate in this program. I simply had no other business engagements. Suiyu sighed in exasperation. Ultimately, he couldn't bring himself to chastise me. Did you think I sponsored such a trivial variety show and leaked